It began with a pigeon. Not a weapon, not a drone, just a bird, gliding silently over East Berlin. But strapped to its chest was a miniature camera, built by the CIA. Every few seconds, the shutter clicked, capturing a secret world, one frame at a time. To most people below, it was just another bird. To the men in Washington, it was a spy. In the middle of the Cold War, before satellites could read license plates from space, America needed eyes that could go where humans couldn't. And so, they turned to nature, to the creatures that had always been watching. The project was simple in theory, insane in practice. Use animals as living surveillance tools. But this wasn't a cartoon. This was the CIA. And they were deadly serious. The program began in the 1960s, under a project so classified it didn't officially exist. They called it Acoustic Kitty. It sounds like a joke, but it wasn't. Engineers implanted a microphone inside a cat's ear canal, a tiny radio transmitter at the base of its skull, and an antenna woven through its fur and tail. The goal, to turn a house cat into a mobile recording device. After months of conditioning, the cat was released near the Soviet embassy in Washington. It walked a few feet, paused in the street, and was hit by a taxi. $20 million. Gone. And with it, one of the strangest experiments in espionage history. But failure didn't stop them. It never does. Because behind every absurd idea in intelligence work, there's something deeper, fear. Fear of being outsmarted. Fear of losing control. And so, the CIA kept pushing the boundaries of what was possible and what was ethical. In declassified documents, you can find traces of their animal experiments. Ravens trained to retrieve small objects from windowsills. Dolphins fitted with cameras to spy on enemy submarines. Sea lions taught to plant sensors on the hulls of ships. These weren't science fiction ideas. They were funded, tested, and operational. Nature itself had become an informant. And they weren't alone. The Soviet Union was doing it too. In the Black Sea, Soviet scientists trained beluga whales to carry explosives. They even tried to weaponize dogs, sending them under tanks, their bellies strapped with bombs. To both sides, life became another piece on the chessboard. One former CIA operative later said, "We were only limited by imagination and biology." There's a certain poetry in that, and a certain horror. Because these weren't machines. They were living beings. They didn't choose their missions. They didn't know what war meant. And yet, they became part of it. In the 1970s, the US Navy took over where the CIA left off. Their marine mammal program trained dolphins and sea lions to patrol naval bases, detect mines, and recover lost equipment. Officially, these were defensive operations. Unofficially, no one really knows. Most of the files are still classified. Some trainers later claimed the dolphins could identify enemy divers, attach trackers to them, even pull their air hoses. Others denied it entirely. The truth, as always in intelligence, is fluid. What's strange is how easily humans justify these things. We tell ourselves it's for security, for protection, for progress. But there's something deeply human and deeply unsettling about turning innocence into strategy. Because dolphins aren't patriots. Cats don't pick sides. And a raven doesn't know what a war is. They were just useful. There's an image that stayed with me from a declassified training film. A sea lion emerging from the water, sleek and glistening, a camera mounted on its back. It looks almost proud, until you realize it's surfacing not for air, but for command. Every movement conditioned, every instinct rewritten. It makes you wonder where the line is, between genius and cruelty, between invention and hubris. And even though these programs faded into the background, they never really ended. In 2019, fishermen in Norway found a beluga whale wearing a harness labeled "Equipment of St. Petersburg." It was tame, obedient, and trained to retrieve objects. Western officials quietly concluded it was part of a Russian naval project. Decades after the Cold War, the ocean was still full of spies. Maybe that's what makes this story haunting. It's not just about the CIA or the Soviets or any single government. It's about us, our endless need to know, to control, to see everything. We'll build machines that listen. We'll train animals that obey. And in the process, we lose a little of ourselves. One retired Navy trainer once said, "They always came back, even when they didn't have to." And that line, it sticks. Because maybe the dolphins weren't loyal to nations or missions. Maybe they came back out of something else entirely, trust. And that's what makes it so tragic. The Cold War is over. The files are declassified. The animals are gone. But the idea, that life itself can be weaponized, never really left us. Today, our spies don't swim or fly. They sit in orbit, in servers, in code. But the story hasn't changed. It's still about humans trying to outsmart each other and the world they live in. When you look up and see a bird tracing the sky, or watch a dolphin break the surface of the sea, you might think it's free. But somewhere long ago, someone tried to turn it into a secret. And maybe that's what makes us dangerous. Not the secrets we keep, but the things we try to own.
Thank you for watching my video and please subscribe my YouTube channel.